Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It is your natural nail guru without the end. Today we are continuing the DIY gel manicure series with a step-by-step instruction on how to actually accomplish a gel manicure. So if you haven't already checked it out, we did a DIY gel manicure, what you need to get started. So it definitely went over all of the different tools and products that are essential to being able to get your gel manicure done at home. If you have not seen the video, then make sure to check it out. It might be a little more helpful to see that first before going over the steps, but it will be linked at the end of the video so you don't miss it. So before we get started on the video, if you want to be up to date on all of the best tips that are going to help improve the health of your natural nails and get the absolute best reviews and most thorough reviews you'll ever see on nail products, and you know what to do. Make sure you like, you subscribe, and you share with all of your friends. Whether you're pro or DIY, information on this channel is definitely going to help you out. So now that we have everything that we need, let's go over the process step by step to make sure that you are giving yourself the best manicure possible. Okay, so the first and the most important step is cleaning your nail plate and preparing it for the polish. Okay, so this is where you're going to need a nail file, you're going to need your cuticle remover, a cuticle pusher, and your buffer. So first thing you want to do is file your nails. You're going to give it the shape that you want, and once you're done filing your nails, you're going to go ahead and apply the cuticle remover to your cuticle. You want to let that sit for at least 2 to 3 minutes. So once it's nice and soft, you're going to get your cuticle pusher and you're going to push back the cuticle, scraping gently on your nail plate, kind of like midway around the edges, and just push all the way up. You're definitely going to be able to feel what you're scraping up. You really should not need to be too difficult unless you have really thick, hard cuticle. If that's the case, then you definitely want to apply a little bit of pressure, but you still want to do little bits at a time. Don't try to push back your cuticle all at once, because it will really hurt if you dig that into the nail bed base or the eponychium. So go ahead and finish scraping. You're going to see all of it come off, and then use the same cuticle pusher to scrape off all of the loose cuticle and anything that might have been stuck on the nail plate. It is really, really important that you get the cleaning of your nail bed good and getting all that cuticle out, because when you're applying your gel polish, any cuticle that's left on the nail bed, it's going to make it really difficult to get a super clean line around your cuticle of polish. It'll, maybe be a little bit bumpy, a little bit curvy, but also if the gel touches a little bit of the cuticle, sometimes it just kind of spreads, which makes the cleanup process that much more difficult. And if you saw the video that I did regarding possible gel reactions, that you are at a higher risk of doing your own gel manicure, exposing the gel to the skin is definitely something that can spark that reaction. So not saying that it's going to happen. Watch the video so you get more detail, but clean up that cuticle bed is the whole point. You want to clean that up, you want to minimize the mess that gets made, and also just overall minimize the exposure you have of the gel polish on your actual skin. Okay, so once you've already scraped up all of your cuticle, this is the part that I really do want to warn and caution. If you really have no need to nip, meaning that you don't have any of these loose skins, white skin that's just like sticking out of the nail, if you have maybe just a little bit of rough skin or callous skin, don't cut that. Okay, that's going to get worse. Okay, so unless you have these little flyaway skins that you can just gently nip, you really don't need to nip. Okay, just get your cuticle nice and cleaned up, use the scraper to scrape off while it's wet, any of those little bits. You'll be able to get a lot of progress with that, but really do not nip if you don't need to, because most people are just going to eat up at their skin, and it's going to cause more cracked cuticle and peeling skin and bleeding, and you just don't want any of that. Okay, so now you have your nails clean. This is where the buffer comes in. You want to use the gentle side of the buffer and just buff along the whole nail plate, generally going along the grain of the nail, if you know what I mean, like along the grooves, up and down, making sure that you buff really nicely around those edges, especially the free edge of the nail. You really should not have to be too rough. If you have very rigid nails or very bumpy nails or anything, then you can go a little bit harder, go side to side. That'll definitely bring down and smooth a little bit more, but this part you really just want to be nice and gentle. The whole point is to smooth out the nail plate, remove any oil or any residue that's left there, and just really be the last step of smoothing out that nail plate to be ready for the polish. And then you want to use either a lint-free wipe or a paper towel or a cloth that you have specifically for this, and you want to dust off all of the dust that's on your nail plate. You can also use nail brushes. This is DIY, personal use. You're not sharing it, but if you have one of those little buka brushes or whatever to dust it off, whatever is going to just help get that off without leaving any lint or residue behind. Some people will use alcohol or acetone. You really don't need to, but those dehydrate very quickly, so it is okay if you want to wipe your nail plate with a little bit of alcohol or acetone. It might actually be an extra backup step just to make sure all the oil was removed and you cleaned up that cuticle area really good. So just a little bit and let it dry out. Okay, so now your nails are clean. Now you're ready for the actual manicure and getting the gel polish on. So first thing before you do polish, I would recommend getting your space ready. So you have your light nice and accessible to put your hand in. I like working on a little piece of paper towel in case I need to, you know, wipe off some gel on it or anything like that. Have my brushes, my nail polishes, whatever I'm going to use nice and ready. So we're ready to go. So the first step in the polishing is the base coat. Now this is like your baseline. All of the polish is kind of going to follow where the base coat goes. So if there's any part of polishing that you perfect, it is definitely the base coat. So thin coats, make it nice and even. You do not need it really thick. You want it to be just a really nice thin coat. Get around the edge. Especially the free edge, nice and thin. And you're going to go ahead and cure that for 10 seconds with an LED light, which most people have. If it's a UV light, it is 30 seconds. Next step is going to be gel polish. You're going to always make sure that you're applying nice and thin coats, especially when you're doing it yourself, because it's going to help your control in applying that polish onto your nail plate without getting it really messy. Also, you don't want to apply thick coats because it might not cure properly or all the way. Once you've applied your first color coat and you have the coverage that you desire, you're going to go ahead and put that in the LED light for 30 seconds or a UV light for 2 minutes. You're going to go ahead and repeat that step. So you're going to apply a second coat, thin coat. Keep that in mind. You're going to go ahead and make sure that it is covering where you need it to cover, and you're going to go ahead and cure that for 30 seconds with LED or 2 minutes with UV light. Now some colors might need a third coat. That's totally fine. Apply a third coat. But just keep in mind thin coats, don't make it thick. And then you're going to go ahead and cure the possible third coat or glitter coat that you're going to put on there. Now comes the final step. This is your top coat. The top coat, you really want to make sure that you're going around every edge and that it is essentially encapsulating all of the color that you just put on around every edge, especially the free edge around the nail. So a thin coats, okay? If these are new bottles and that brush is super saturated, even though you think you took polish out, when you put it on your nail plate, it's going to just splurge everywhere and spill. And usually top coats can be a little thin in viscosity. So just make sure you're applying it very thinly because you don't want runoff into the cuticle. If you cure it, not only are you curing it on your skin, but once it grows out, you're going to have a little lift. It'll start peeling. You might start playing with it. You don't want to do that. So just go really, really thin on the top coat. Make sure you're getting around every edge. And once your top coat is applied perfectly, you're going to go ahead and cure that for 30 seconds in LED or 2 minutes in UV. Now, once your manicure is done, most top coats finish curing and have an inhibition layer, a really tacky layer. So it is cured, but you're going to need to use a little bit of alcohol. You could use a little bit of acetone if you don't have alcohol. Not a huge deal. And just get a lint-free wipe or a cloth for your nail or a paper towel, saturate it a little bit, and go ahead and wipe off all of that sticky stuff that's around your nail. You're going to see that you're going to leave it really nice and shiny. Try to move the paper around. Don't clean each nail with the same spot because you're going to have all the leftover residue from the previous nail, and it's not going to clean very good and leave it a little bit kind of streaky or a little bit foggy or less shiny. Once you're done with the manicure, the most important thing, you've just been working with all that cuticle. You want to nourish your skin, nourish your nails, so definitely apply some cuticle oil or balm. I, of course, would recommend the Oh My Natural Cuticle Oil because it is 100% active ingredient, no water added, handmade, amazing, and it's going to not only help with nourishing, but restoring dry, cracked skin, even if you have inflammation or irritation, help you with hangnails, and help you with the growth and strength of your nails. So definitely check it out. You can definitely use the code right here below, OhMyU20, for 20% off anything that you purchase. And if you have not checked out my video on the products to get a little more information about how amazing it is, the video will be linked at the end, so you can definitely check it out. So that is it. Step-by-step gel manicure instructions are in the books. Now you are a pro. almost. It might be a little intimidating, but just be patient, be consistent, take your time. It's definitely something where practice makes way better, and it will just take a little time to get there, but I am here to help. So if you have any comments, questions, or any feedback whatsoever, please make sure to comment down below. And as always, I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.